What happens when enemy drones hover over America's most sensitive military bases and no one in charge has the authority to act? For weeks, advanced drone swarms circled nuclear sites, intelligence hubs, even Air Force bases, while leaders admitted they had no idea if they were Russian, Chinese, or Iranian. At the same time, the Pentagon faces a crippling shortage of cyber warriors, leaving 30,000 critical positions unfilled. This isn't science fiction, it's happening now, and the consequences could shake America's security to its core. In recent years, America's defenses have been tested in ways few expected.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Senator Cotton. Senator Gillibrand.
Secretary Hegseth, this committee has had many hearings about the future of warfare and making sure that we have the complement of warfighters that we need to win any future wars and not focus on how we could have done better in the previous war. One of the areas where I have deep concern is cyber defense in this country. I'm concerned about cyber warfare. I'm concerned about cyber terrorism. I'm also concerned about the deployment of UAS, as we've seen being extremely powerful in the war in Ukraine. We've seen what Iran has done. So I'm concerned about our posture with regard to UAS and a defensive posture with regard to UAS attacks. I am very concerned about what happened over many of our military sites. Drone configurations hovering for weeks without response. No authorities to be able to track where those drones came from by the DoD to assess, are they Iranian, are they Chinese, are they Russian, are they on spy missions, what is their purpose? Inadequate authorities, inadequate defenses, inadequate technology. The Langley incursion is incomprehensible. On top of that, I'm very concerned that we are not investing in our cyber professionals, that we don't have enough cyber offense, enough cyber defense. We have currently 30,000 open cyber positions within the DoD. So I'd like to hear from you, what's your plan to have cyber defense and cyber warriors at the appropriate complement? And number two, what is your plan to create the authorities that you need for UAS defense and to have the inadequate response of this is someone else's job no longer come out of our leaders?
Well, Senator, thank you for the question. You're right over the target. Cyber needs to be a part of every single way that we plan and look at the world. That gray zone part of conflict, and we can't cede that terrain in any way to our adversaries. And so it is, you'll see the resources in this budget that invest in that. You'll see it fully integrated into planning and capabilities. And what we're looking for in the next Cybercom and what we're looking for there, our Deputy Secretary of Defense is leading a charge to make sure it fits precisely what the world needs today.
So we have a program that this committee supported in the last two NDAAs, which is a cyber academy to create a pipeline of young people who do cyber for service. So they get a state-of-the-art cyber education at over 600 schools around the country, and then they dedicate the number of years they had education to the Department of Defense or the intelligence community. And right now it is not being funded. And right now, because of the hiring freeze, these kids who have completed their degree under the Cyber Service Academy actually can't get a job at the DoD or the intelligence community, and they're either going to have to no longer serve, which was part of the program, or get employed somewhere else, but we lose them. So what are you doing to unplug this problem of not hiring these cyber professionals immediately because they are part of the cyber service program? And your budget does not show that you are planning to fill 100 cyber positions for these young people who want to serve in the IC community or in the IC or in the Department of Defense.
We'll review that aspect of the hiring freeze in the Cyber Academy. We want those positions filled. We're fully committed to it. And then on counter UAS, which you mentioned, it is a reality of the modern battlefield, whether it's in Ukraine or elsewhere, that we have to fully account for and address as aggressively as possible. And you have my assurances at the highest levels, we are putting our best people in charge of ensuring we have counter-UAS systems that can match the threats of the future.
I would like you to prepare for this committee 2 letters in response to these questions. 1, what are you going to do to fill the 1,000 slots for the Cyber Academy? And how are you going to get this hiring freeze taken care of? And 2, what is your plan for increased authorities, increased investment, appropriate review of UAS that hover over our military and nuclear sites? So this committee has a fulsome response from your whole team about how you will address these 2 problems.
We will get that to you, Senator. And authorities, you are right, is a huge issue on counter-UAS
It's something
that we're going to
Senator
address.
Cotton and I are committed to passing. We both serve on intelligence and armed services, and so we share the urgency on this issue.
And so, Mr. Secretary, you'll submit those letters for the record. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Senator Gillibrand. Senator.
Drones, once thought of as tools for surveillance or targeted strikes overseas, are now probing the heart of the homeland. Imagine looking up at the sky above Langley Air Force Base and seeing unfamiliar drone configurations hovering for weeks, with no clear response from the people meant to defend that very installation. No tracking systems in place, no answers about where they came from, and most alarming of all, no one with the proper authority to even make the call. Were they Russian spy drones, Chinese technology, an Iranian test run? No one could say, and the silence that followed raised even more unsettling questions. If America can't identify drones loitering over its nuclear and military sites, what does that say about our readiness for tomorrow's wars? But drones are only part of the nightmare. The other half is invisible, silent, and just as dangerous cyber warfare. America is entering an era where the most destructive battles won't be fought with tanks and missiles but with keystrokes and code. Every day the United States faces waves of cyber attacks probing government networks, defense systems, even civilian infrastructure. These attacks don't always make headlines, but experts warn they're part of a constant gray zone conflict, the shadow battlefield where enemies test America's defenses without ever firing a shot. And yet in the middle of this relentless storm, the Pentagon has left 30,000 cyber defense positions unfilled. 30,000 gaps in the very firewall meant to protect the nation's most sensitive systems. It's like leaving the doors to the Pentagon unlocked at night and hoping no one notices. To fix this, the Department of Defense rolled out what sounded like a visionary solution: the Cyber Academy. Spread across 600 schools nationwide, this program was designed to train a new generation of cyber warriors. Students would receive cutting-edge cyber education, then pledge years of service to the Department of Defense or the intelligence community. It was supposed to be a win-win. Young talent gained skills and the country gained desperately needed defenders, but here's the shocking twist: thanks to a hiring freeze, many of these graduates can't even get jobs with the very agencies they were trained to serve. Imagine going through years of specialized training, committing your future to national defense, only to be told there's no seat for you at the table. These recruits, some of the brightest minds in the field, are left stranded. And if the Pentagon won't hire them, private corporations or even foreign powers gladly will. That isn't just incompetence, it's a national security disaster in the making. And this is where the system starts to look less like a strategy and more like a slow-motion collapse. Senators have repeatedly sounded the alarm, demanding answers, but the responses too often sound the same. That's someone else's job. The lack of urgency is staggering. Billions are poured into advanced weapons programs, but the simple act of hiring cyber professionals, people already trained and ready to serve, remains stuck in bureaucratic limbo. Programs are funded but not executed. Initiatives are praised but not enforced. It's the kind of red tape that leaves America dangerously exposed, and behind closed doors many are asking if political battles, funding disputes, or sheer incompetence are blocking solutions at a time when the threats are moving faster than ever. While Washington struggles with paralysis, America's adversaries are moving full speed ahead. In Ukraine, Russian drones have terrorized cities, striking with precision and overwhelming defenses. Iran has already demonstrated the devastating potential of its drone programs in the Middle East, altering the balance of power on battlefields where American allies once felt secure. And China, always careful to operate in the shadows, is pouring resources into both drone and cyber technology, steadily expanding its ability to project power in ways that are harder and harder to counter. The message is clear: drones and cyber warfare aren't future problems, they're the reality of today's battlefield. And if America doesn't catch up, it risks being left behind. This all leads to the most uncomfortable question of all: who is really protecting America? When enemy drones circle sensitive bases and leaders can't agree on who has authority to act, when tens of thousands of cyber defense jobs remain empty, when trained recruits are left to walk away, it paints a chilling picture of vulnerability. America prides itself on being the world's superpower, but power means nothing if your defenses are riddled with holes. And make no mistake, America's enemies see those holes clearly. Some experts warn that these drone incursions may not just be accidents or harmless surveillance flights. They could be tests, deliberate probes designed to measure America's response time, its coordination, its weaknesses. And every time a drone hovers without being intercepted, it sends a message to those watching: the system isn't ready. Inside the halls of Congress, senators like Tom Cotton and Kirsten Gillibrand have made it clear they understand the stakes. Both serve on intelligence and armed services committees, and both are pressing hard for solutions: more authorities to counter drones, more resources to hire cyber defenders, more urgency at the top. But even as they demand letters, reports, and accountability, one question lingers: is it already too late? Can America close the gap before its enemies exploit it? Or will bureaucratic delays and leadership failures hand the advantage to adversaries who are moving faster, thinking sharper, and willing to take risks America isn't prepared to answer? The reality is harsh. These aren't just abstract policy debates. This is about survival in a new era of warfare where the skies above bases and the networks that connect everything are under constant threat. If America can't defend its skies from hovering drones, and can't defend its networks from cyber infiltration, then its claim to being the most secure nation on Earth starts to crumble. And while the Pentagon promises to review policies, to consider new authorities, to maybe adjust hiring freezes, time is slipping away. Every delay is another opportunity for adversaries to test, to learn, and to strike. So the next time you hear about drones hovering over a nuclear site, or cyber professionals forced to take jobs elsewhere because the Pentagon wouldn't hire them, remember this: these aren't isolated incidents, they're warnings. Warnings that the future of warfare is already here, and that America's defenses may not be ready to meet it. The stakes couldn't be higher, because the battle for security is no longer about tomorrow, it's about right now. And if America can't defend its skies and its networks, then who is really in control? If you found this breakdown eye-opening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Are America's leaders doing enough, or are they leaving the country wide open to its enemies? Your voice matters, and this is a conversation the world can't afford to ignore.